I don't know about you, but after I've written a lot of scrapers or I'm really in the weeds with something, generally speaking, I want the features that Scrapey gives me. And rather than writing them myself, which is an option sometimes, depending on what you're doing, I tend to just go for Scrapey and customize it to my needs. I want to show you in this video a good example of how it can be utilized to work in different sorts of ways. So if you've only ever seen like basic Scrapey, then hopefully this will help a little bit out for you. So I'm looking at a product page, standard stuff really. A lot of e-commerce sites are like this. If you go to view source and search for schema, we have this script tag here, and then it has this schema in, which is all of the structured data that has been put here by the website for Google to know what this is about, basically. So we can copy this, and if I stick this in JSON parser and zoom in a little bit, it's kind of hard to see, but you get the idea, right? So we've got lots and lots of product information, including prices for all the different variants and images. So what we want to do is we want to get that data. The easiest way to do that is using extract, which is by Scraping Hub as well. And somewhere down here, we have the JSON LD extraction, which is JSON data. I think it's linked data maybe, and that's what is going to be in here with JSON LD. See, I don't scrape anymore unless I'm behind a proxy, as I know to scale up my projects I'll need to be using proxies. So in testing I try a few different settings and select the best option for my use case. This video is sponsored by ProxyScrape, friends of the channel and the proxies I use myself. We get access to high quality, secure, fast and ethically sourced proxies that cover residential, data center and mobile, with rotating and sticky session options. There's 10 million plus proxies in the pool to use, all with unlimited concurrent sessions from countries all over the globe, enabling us to scrape quickly and efficiently. I use a variety of different proxies depending on the situation, but I'd recommend you start out with residential ones, making sure that you choose the countries that are appropriate to the site you're scraping and try and match your own country where possible, because this will give you the best chance of beating any anti-bot protection and getting the data you need. Either way, it's still only one line of code to add to your project, and we can let ProxyScrape handle the rest from there. And any traffic you purchase is yours to use whenever you need, as it doesn't ever expire. So if this all sounds good to you, check out ProxyScrape at the link in the description below. Okay, let's get on with the project. So this is going to let us get this information. It's very, very good at it. It's very, very easy. It's literally like 2 lines of code to add in. Perfect. So we'll do that. The second thing we need to think about is how we're going to get all of the product links, because we want to go to each one to get this data. Sitemap. It's just the obvious way here. So what I did is I went to robots.txt and it has a sitemap link, and I've gone to it here. And if we look at this sitemap, I'll zoom in a little bit. We've got these 4 links here that are product sitemaps. I'm going to grab one of these and stick it in, and I will open it up, and we should get all the product links come up in just a second. It's been a little bit slow for me. And here we are. So we do get the product links, and I think there's a GB one, and then it goes through each of the different locations. So we'll just need to handle that. But we just basically need to go to this sitemap with Scrapey, get all of the links for the product sitemaps, and then get all the product links, and then grab the data. It's not that difficult. There's only one thing that's going to get in our way, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I've got my terminal open here. I'm running tmux to have 2. You can't tell that I'm swapping between the 2. One's got my code in, one runs it for me. Makes it life a little bit easier. So we're going to do pip3, and we're going to install Scrapey, and we're also going to install Scrapey impersonate, and we'll go from there. So Scrapey impersonate is a curl CFFI wrapper that works with Scrapey. Now, if you've not heard me talk about this before, I talk a lot about it in my video. You need to scrape with a good browser style TLS fingerprint. If you don't have that, you can have all of the good headers and proxies in the world and you will get nowhere. So it's a very kind of like common way, especially within like Cloudflare, I think, to stop your requests, because they can tell by your TLS fingerprint what ciphers you're using, everything like that, that it's come from requests or something similar. So we need to mask that, and this is the best way to do it. I use curl CFFI, sometimes TLS client, when I'm doing it outside of Scrapey, but inside Scrapey, we need Scrapey impersonate. So now I've got that installed. I think I might need a few other things. We'll cross that. Oh, we need to install extract as well. Can't talk about it and then not install it and use it in our project. There we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and create our project. So we'll do, I might need to deactivate my thing. Let's reactivate. Cool. So let's do Scrapey start project. and we'll just call this one base, and we'll cd into our base project, and then do scrapey gen spider. Now we need to do two things. We want the sitemap spider. Let's do it with an underscore, and we need to just grab the URL to give it. Let's put that in there. Don't want the S. And we also need scrapey gen spider product spider. So what we're going to do, oh, I left the S in there. Okay, that's fine. We can delete that out. What we're going to do is we're going to write one spider that is going to scrape the sitemap for all the product links. And then we need to take those links and run through them with the product spider using extract to extract the data. Extract the data. There we go. That's a tongue twister. Right. To do that, we're going to need to hold those URLs temporarily somewhere. The easiest way to do that is in a CSV file. It's very easy to do. You run one spider, it creates a CSV. You run the second one that uses the URLs from that CSV. Going forward, I think I'll expand on this in my next video. I'm going to look at making it this way more professional, and I'll show you how to Dockerize it. But we'll use Redis for that, so we'll create a queue. And when we do that in the next video, so subscribe to make sure you see that, I'll show you how you can run multiple instances of one of the spiders so you can kind of scrape even quicker in parallel. But again, this first. So now I've got that installed. We're going to go open up our code editor. And what we're actually going to do is I'm going to come out of here, and I'm just going to do git init. And I'm just going to copy, bring my git ignore over here. All that does is that when I open up Helix, I just basically get the files that I'm after. And obviously I'll commit it to Git once we are done. The first thing I always do is head to the settings. We need to add in certain things from Scrapey Impersonate to make it work, which is these download handlers. So we're just going to copy those out. I'm going to go to the end of the file, bang them in. We're already using the async reactor for Scrapey, which is the default now. This is great. It means our code is inherently asynchronous. One other thing we need to do is we need to create a new user agent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and we'll do my user agent, and we'll grab this string from here. That will be fine, I think. So we'll do user agent is equal to this string. We'll start with that. We can tweak that if we need to. And do we want to obey this? We do not. Thank you. Okay. That should be fine for this. What we do want to do, and we'll do this, we're actually going to do this now because we do need to include our proxy, because without that, we're going to start hitting loads of requests in. We'll probably find our IP will get blocked really fast. So a couple of ways you can do that. I tend to just write my own middleware. So I'm going to come to the middlewares here, and we're going to go down to the end of this file. I'm going to create a new class, and I'm just going to call this one proxy middle. Oh wow, middleware. This takes object, I think. Then we're going to run. Oh, that needs to be. Then we're going to run the init on this. We don't actually need that for the moment. I want to do is self.proxy. It's going to be equal to os.get env, and we'll just run the standard proxy in this one. So I'm just going to import os at the top of my code. Import os. Cool. What I'm doing here is I'm using the environment variable that I have stored. Basically, I have about 5 or 6 different versions of various proxies, mobile, residential, or country specific, and I save them on in my ZSHRC. I can call from my get environment variable here. So this is just your proxy string. If you don't want to do it through your environment variable, this is just your proxy string. Then we need to override the process requests. This takes in self, spider, and now we'll do if proxy is not in our request.meta, we want to add it to that, and that's basically the way that you handle proxies, etc. in this. So we'll do meta, and we want the proxy keyword is going to be equal to self.proxy, like this. That should add our proxy to every one of our requests. So back to the settings, and we want to find the middleware section, and we want download a middleware. No. And we want downloader middleware. Oh, that's up a bit. Downloader middlewares. Cool. So we don't need this one. We do want base.middlewares.proxy middleware, and we'll just run that at 300 or something. That should be fine. So I know that Scrapey does have its own proxy middleware, but that's just so easy to write and stick in. I think we'll go with that for the moment. Right, so that should be good. Let's just restart this, and we'll come into our spider. So we're going to need to start with the sitemap spider. Now, there is a specific sitemap spider within Scrapey, but you don't have to use it. It'll basically Scrapey is just going to use a request and then give you the response. So we don't need to worry about that too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to override the default start requests. So we're going to say start requests. Wow, I don't want all of that. Start requests, and this is going to take in our self. Now we want to yield a scrapey.request. I'll show you why I'm doing this in just a second. And the URL is going to be our initial sitemap URL, because we only ever need to go here once. There we go. And then we want to do some extra meta. Now I didn't add this into the proxy one. I'm going to do it. I just decided to do it like this, just so I can kind of see that it's working. You can do this in the same way, but because I'm doing the Scrapey request here, I'm just going to add it in like this. This is fine. And we'll do Chrome 120. So this is going to go to our first sitemap, and we then need to pass the response that we're going to get from that. So what first thing we want to do is, because we're going to be dealing with the XML, we need to remove the namespace. So all we're going to do is response.selector.remove name spaces, and all this is going to mean is that if you're ever trying to scrape a sitemap or XML and you don't remove the namespaces, you generally might not get the data back that you're expecting. And to save these, we're going to say this is going to be our product sitemaps. Product sitemaps is going to be equal to response.xpath, and if we come to our sitemap here, we have sitemap, LOC, and then the text. So we want to do sitemap LOC/text and get all. So this is going to give us a list back here of all of the text of all of the links. So then we just need to loop through these. So we can do for sitemap URL in product sitemaps, we can yield a scrapey.request, and again the URL is going to be equal to the sitemap URL. And we'll just bung in this meta impersonate to Chrome 120. Missed one thing. We need to do a callback because we need to have another function. So we'll do callback is going to be equal to pass product sitemap. Okay, so now we need to create that function here. So we'll do pass product sitemap. This is our function, so this is the callback we're going to get going to here, and we'll have a response, and this should be self because we're referencing it in the class. Cool. So let's open that sitemap up if I didn't have it open already. Let's close that one. So now we want to grab these. So I guess the first thing we want to do is do response is actually copy this, because we're going to need to do exactly the same thing here. So we can loop through all of these and get the URL. So it's going to be URL LOC text. Okay. So our product URLs is going to be equal to response.xpath. I don't usually use xpath, but it seems to be working fine for this. I forgot what it was already. URL LOC text. This should be .get all as well. So this is our list of product URLs. Now we just need to go through these and only get the the ones specific to our region which have this GBEN in. So I'll do if GBEN n in, we need to loop through them first because that's going to be a list. So we'll just do for URL in product URLs. Then we can have our if statement in URL. If that works, we want to yield this response out. URL is going to be equal, and we're returning the dictionary to a URL like this. And the reason why I want to yield that out is because we're going to save all of these links to to a CSV file. So this spider is going to start here, and it's going to go and find all of the sitemaps that are for product sitemaps. And we probably won't actually know. I've missed that out because we want to check that the actual sitemap has the word product in it first. Yeah, so here I want to do if product in in sitemap URL. Yeah, because we would have had we would have ended up with all of the other sitemaps. We would have gone all the way across here, content, context, category, which we don't really want, and whatever this one is, I don't know. We didn't need any of that, so that should be fine. So let's save this, and I'm going to run scrapey crawl sitemap spider, and for some reason it doesn't like it when I do it afterwards. Okay, and I need to go into my base. Right, now we should be able to run it. So this looks like links coming through. Where did we end up? Item scrape count 948. So let's just scroll up in our tmux. So we've got some products here, GBEN. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do -o, and we'll call this urls.csv, and we'll run that. Cool. So let's open our urls.csv here, and we can see that we do indeed have 900 and something. And this is going to be all of them, all of the product URLs that we found through the sitemap. So, this gives us that easy base where we can go, and just grab those products. One thing that's quite useful, you can check if you're using Linux or Unix, is you can do sort. We'll just need urls.csv, not products. And we can just check that there's nothing repeated or nothing that isn't a duplicate. So we can sort it, and then we'll just do unique and repeated. Will tell us that there's no duplicates in that file. That's kind of handy, useful thing to know. It's one of the reasons why I like Linux so much. Right, so now we have a URLs list. We can go ahead and start creating our product spider, which is probably going to be, which will be much simpler. But we do need to import a couple of other things here. So we do need CSV, because we're going to be opening that CSV file, and we want to do from neither of those, extract .json LD. We want to import in the JSON LD extractor. This is what's going to make our lives much, much easier. So we can get rid of these. Now we just need to open the CSV file. So we'll do def start requests again, because we're going to do it this way. Self. And then we can do with open. Now I'm trying to get the path right with this. We'll just try urls.csv. I can't remember where the default path is. Read as f. Our reader is going to be equal to the csv.dict reader. And then we just want to go through the rows. So for row in reader, this is going to be our URLs. We want to yield a scrapey request. We want to create a request. So we'll do scrapey.request. And the URL is going to be equal to the row URL. The callback will be self.parse. I don't know if we need to say that. I think it defaults to it, but we'll call it anyway. And we'll add in our meta, our impersonate, so we don't have any issues with that TLS fingerprint. And when I format this, it's going to move it down. Cool. So this is going to open up our, I forgot to give it the file. There we go. This is going to open it up. So let's come down to our parse, and we'll have our JSLDE, which is going to be equal to our JSLDE extractor. And this is going to be able to grab us this, easily grab us, wherever it's gone, I had it open, this load of information here, which is all of the product information, including variants and colors. So we just basically want to grab that. So I can say our data is going to be equal to JSLDE.extract, and we'll give it response.text, I think. Yep. And then we can just yield out, and we'll just say product, and we'll just yield everything out, data. I think this is actually a list. So if I remember rightly, this is going to be a list. Yeah, so you can see this is a list. So this is going to be, so we're going to return the whole list here just in the product thing. I don't think this is the right path. We'll find out. So now we'll do Scrapey, crawl, our product, spider. No is the answer to that. And this should be start requests, which is why nothing was happening. So now we can run our Scrapey crawl spider, and it's working. So I did get it right. So all this is now going to do is going to go through every single one of those links and grab that JSON data off of that page, which is basically one page loaded, just passing one thing. You saw how simple the pass function was. I'm going to stop this because I want this to have an output, which I didn't do, and I'm just going to call this products.json, and I'm going to let this run, and we'll see at the end how many products we end up with, and we'll have a look at the output from Scrapey, which again is very, very useful. And again, like I said at the start, it saves you having to write all of this stuff yourself. So I don't think this will take too long, 950 odd links. I'll be back when it's finished. Okay, so that's done, and we can see that we made 948 requests, 948 responses, which is great. Elapsed time, 462 seconds. We should see somewhere here, scraped count, 948. So we got everything. So, that was pretty good going. And let's open it up. And we can see here's our product JSON with all the information. Looks like maybe I put double the list in. Okay, maybe I didn't need to do that. That's my mistake. If I format this, we have a products here. And it has, you can see this one's all structured where it has this main bit at the top. And then the second part is, the kind of variation products that has the SKU and the price and everything in like that. So that relatively short Scrapey project would save you so much time doing it this way over trying to write all of this stuff yourself, especially if you need the logging, the retries, all of that stuff. It all takes time writing out classes. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a case where you don't want to write your own. And I actually do that. I'll have a video coming up on that relatively soon. But in this case, Scrapey is perfect for almost all of this stuff. What I'm going to do in the next video in this series, which I'm not quite sure whether there'll be another week or two, so make sure you subscribe so you get that, is I'm going to tidy this up a little bit. We're going to add Redis in as the queue. We'll add probably MongoDB for the database, and we'll Dockerize this and run it on VPS in the cloud, and I'll show you how to scale up the amount of spiders that we run with that as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So but if you want some more web scraping content at the moment, go and check out this video where I'm not going to use Scrapey, and I'll show you a completely different method of web scraping, which I think you'll find very, very interesting.